Good morning once again, and welcome to the Haven Financial Group radio show. Thanks for listening. It's great to have Lance Larson, our CPA at Haven Financial Group, with us. Do you have your tax meeting set up? Have you got it prepped up? Or maybe look for next year? Give us a call. Get on Lance or Melissa's schedule. We'd love to talk more about that. Or maybe you haven't looked at your portfolio in a while. Stress tested that portfolio. Volatility has been in the market, but guess what? You can avoid some of those pitfalls as well. Or maybe you're listening and maybe you have an annuity that you're not familiar with. How about an annuity exam or annuity review? A lot of people have them. They don't know which one of the four they have. Or life insurance, long-term care reviews, looking at all these different retirement puzzle pieces. Number one, making sure you have them, and then making sure they go to the same retirement puzzle. That's what we talk about every week, Kim. So again, just making people aware, have they done what they need to do to prepare for retirement?
Mm-hmm. It's always great to have Lance with us. And Lance, we talked about, some minimizing strategies for tax in the last block. And now we want to talk a little bit about home sales and maybe the tax ramifications of that. There's a number of people who get into retirement age and maybe a big chunk of their retirement investment is in their home and they want to downsize. They're going to sell. They're going to retrieve their money and maybe head south. Who knows, right? But there are some things that people need to know. It may not be just as easy as putting a sign in the front yard.
You're right, Kim. So when it comes to taxes, when we're selling homes, we always need to know, is the home been your primary residence? Has it been a rental property? What have you been doing with this house? Because depending upon what you've been doing, the tax treatment is very different. So with primary residences, we get to have this exclusion. Married couples can have up to $500,000. Single people get $250,000. So we figure out the capital gains and say, all right, where are we sitting at? Oh, it's been your primary residence. Well, let's take that exclusion. Versus if it was a rental property, well, now we have to figure out the sale price, what our base is. We have to figure out what the depreciation was in order to figure out what that capital gain is at the end. And then from there, we get to look at, is it long-term, short-term? Where does it fall on your income? So which brackets are we in? Because then our capital gains are taxed at different percentages than our normal ordinary income. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of questions that kind of go into this. For most people, I would say, though, that they're looking to sell their primary residence, it's very easy to look at and to say, all right, what is your sale price? What was your purchase price? Are you a married couple? So we get a $500,000. Are you single? So it's only $250,000. And most of the time with those three basic questions, we can answer what that taxable gain is going to be. And most of the time it is going to be zero. So this is when you're looking at retirement to downsize, then this is a great move to have in your back pocket.
So let me ask you, is there a way to eliminate or reduce your capital gains if in fact you do have them?
There are. So again, we go back to those three basic questions: sale price, what did you buy it for? And then where are we at with the exclusion? Well, sometimes when there's going to be capital gains after that exclusion, well, then we go into more detail, because when we talk about your purchase price, what we're trying to get to is a number, what we call basis. Again, that's a fun little tax term we use for a lot of stuff, which really means how much money are you into this asset there. So people buy it many years ago. Well, you've also had to make improvements throughout the years. You've had to remodel the kitchen, remodel a bathroom, put a new roof on, new windows. Well, all these investments into your house are going to increase your basis. So that is one of the ways that we look to reduce that capital gain. We also get to take the actual selling expenses. So when you go to closing, and they hand you that paper that says, here's your sale price. Oh, look, here's the broker that's taking their 6% commission out of here. Oh, here's the title company that needs their fees for doing their documents. Oh, wait, just again, the government needs to take their fees out of doing stuff. All these selling expenses also come right off the top, which help reduce that capital gain. Other things that we can start looking at, if especially with investment properties, so those rentals there, if you are considering selling a rental property and just want to be done with this old one, but you still want to have that income source from passive income, well, you can look at what they call a 1031 exchange. And the 1031 allows you to defer those capital gains until you actually are finally done with that investment there. So we go from a single family here in Minnesota, and we talked about, hey, we want to go move down south or go move west. Well, then we sell the Minnesota rental property and we buy a new rental property just down the street from where we're going to be at. And we do that on a 1031, so we just delay those capital gains at that point.
Now, let me ask you, if you delay your capital gains and then you pass away and that property is now passed on to your kids, do they have to pay the capital gains, or is there a way to get around it there?
If the property is going to be as part of your estate, they do a valuation when you pass away. So therefore that rental property is going to get a step up in basis. So at that point, if your kids or whoever is inheriting that property decides to sell it, they will actually probably pay no capital gains on it at all.
Okay. Yeah, again, this all comes back to estate planning, right? And the importance of knowing the answers to some of those questions and whether it's a good idea to defer or not. Some of the misconceptions and some of the costs that people don't take into account when it comes to selling your home in retirement.
A lot of these costs and other misconceptions are not necessarily tax related. It's life related. So you're going to go from a house that you know all the ins and outs of it. You know what the property taxes are going to be every year. You know that, there's this one spot in the house that's always going to be a little humid. And so you need to put that dehumidifier over there. You know your house, but then when you're going to a new place, this is an unknown quantity. You think that you're going to need that dehumidifier again. What are the property taxes going to be there? Hey, it's going to be some simple things of where do you store your stuff? Like right now, you can think, I know exactly where that particular book is on the shelf. Now you go to the new place, well, those bookshelves that you had are no longer in the same place. You have those type of things that are going to be just never really talked about. Also, when you're downsizing, how much stuff do you have? You have a big house that you've probably accumulated a whole bunch of stuff. Now, what do you do with that? Are you going to throw it into a storage unit? Are you going to donate it to Goodwill? You're going to have the kids come over and say, pick out what you want and take it away. Then you actually have to move your stuff. Where are we going to move to? How are you going to transport it? There's been a lot of companies go out there and say, hey, we'll come in there, we'll grab all the stuff, put it in this pod, we'll move the pod out there, and then we'll have people doing it. That's great. What's the cost of that? So these are the kind of things that are happening outside of the tax world, but are still real life costs that we need to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. I also think you have such an emotional tie to your home. And then when you put it on the market, maybe it's more valuable emotionally to you than it might be in a resale situation for someone else. And I think that's hard for a lot of people to face.
Absolutely, Kim.
Kim, notice in these conversations, kind of a takeaway from today's show is all these retirement puzzle pieces, all these topics, taxes, investments, house, insurance, et cetera, they all tie together. There should be more coordination. I've said it many, many times, more coordination in retirement than ever. Do you have a partner like Haven Financial Group, which, by the way, has all of this under the same roof? Now, you don't have to have it under the same roof, but let me ask you a question. Isn't it much easier to coordinate it under the same roof or have 5 or 6 different destinations that you have to go to for individuals to participate? It is the biggest compliment we get is it's so nice to have all of this under one roof. You guys talk to each other, you coordinate, things work together, because if they're not working together, they can work apart. And when you're preparing and planning and in retirement, you want things to work together smoother than ever. And I'll say this, all these retirement puzzle pieces requires more attention than 1 to 2 meetings a year for 45 minutes to an hour. If that's all you're getting, you're not getting the attention you deserve for all the money that you're paying. I just wanted to make that perfectly clear.
Well, you've spent a lifetime accumulating it. You certainly deserve more than just a meeting to decide how you're going to use it, I would think. 612-504-8400 is the number. That's how you get hold of our friends there at Haven Financial Group. Give them a call. Tell them you heard us right here on the radio. I think this has been a great show. It also shows, Larry, that so much of your retirement is about family and it's about emotions. And it's just keeping all of that in check and making the best decisions you possibly can for golden years.
Couldn't agree with you more. Individuals, couples, families, communication, get together, get on the same page. It's all very, very important, and you'd be surprised at what you can achieve in doing so. Kim, look forward to next week. You take care.